Bienvenidos, bonvinda, bienvenue, and welcome to the Sanitation Innovation Fund Pooptank, Lake Victoria Edition 2022-2023, or as we call it here, the Lake Victoria Pooptank. It is 4 p.m. It's actually a little bit after 4 p.m. now, East Africa time on the 17th of March, 2023. Wherever you are in the world, happy St. Patrick's Day. My name is Anthony Kilbride, and I am your host for this third and final poop tank of the inaugural Sanitation Innovation Competition. At the Lake Victoria Pooptank, we turn our attention to the poop that flows into Lake Victoria, Africa's largest freshwater lake and home to over 40 million people in the 5 countries of the lake's basin: Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Burundi. If the poop continues to flow into Lake Victoria as it does today, we will be in trouble. Poop, or untreated human waste, or poor sanitation, as it is also known, is destroying the lake. The effects of the lake's deteriorating water quality can be fatal for humans, for fish, for biodiversity, and for the health and prosperity of communities throughout the lake's basin. Ladies and gentlemen, the facts are clear. The evidence is quite abundant, but please don't take my word for it. Let's listen now to some school children from Uganda who were organized by one of our poop tank innovators, Juliet Mukunde, to describe how they see a dying Lake Victoria.
Her name is Lake Victoria Nalubale. She's dirty, poison, oh my love, with oil and sewage covering her face. How I wish I can clean her, but alas, she's simply too big for a one-man's job. Her hair has dusty crept into her locks. Her eyes have lost their vibrance from before. Before poo-poo spilled over into her mouth, flooded her face into non-existence, until it was nothing but pollution. The garbage, the filth, it has torn her down. My love, how can I save in all this filth? Please, let's save her. My love, she's dying. Preserve the water like to filter the waste. Make her eyes shine with the vibrance once again.
That was quite powerful, wasn't it? I must say, I much more appreciate efforts like that to sensitize and share with the world the situation of Lake Victoria. So thank you, Juliet, for organizing that, and thanks for those children for that great poem, that great piece of art. So one thing is certain: a dead Lake Victoria spells disaster for the entire East Africa region. The catastrophe is just around the corner if we do not change. Change means embracing innovation and rewarding innovators. And the Lake Victoria Poop Tank is here for that very purpose. Innovation, innovation, and innovation. If you are new to the Poop Tank, you are very welcome. If you are not new to the Poop Tank, then welcome back. Perhaps you joined us from the beginning of our 8-month innovation challenge in July of last year, when the challenge was launched and we rewarded our 3 Poop Tank innovators with cash prizes and mentoring support. Or perhaps you only caught us 4 months ago on World Toilet Day in November last year, when we caught up on our innovators' journeys at the midway point. If you need a refresher on the poop tank and what it is all about, then please go to www.pooptank.net. Our three poop tank innovators are still the stars of the show. And before we meet them once again, let's remind ourselves of their innovations in another short clip from the last poop tank from last November. Each innovator has embraced the principles of inclusive sanitation. For example, they recognize the power of partnerships and have chosen to collaborate rather than compete. They recognize that sanitation is a public benefit and that collaboration with their local public institutions is essential for their innovations to grow. They recognize that toilets alone will not save Lake Victoria, but that toilets must exist as part of a sanitation service chain, which manages human waste all the way to safe treatment and disposal or reuse. Saul Mwandosia of Tanzania has developed communications tools in conjunction with a local utility and the local city council and local community champions. He is now primed to undertake the next part of his innovation, which is to use these tools together with digital tracking devices to pilot smart enforcement of public health regulation. Juliet Mukunde of Uganda has put Lake Victoria's water quality problems into the minds of everyone who sings, Lake Victoria, the source of all our waters. Excuse me for that embarrassing ditty. The success of the song has given Juliet visibility with other partners who can help her replicate the song in other languages and use the power of art to influence a broad range of stakeholders, from school children to policy makers. Carolyn Odero of Kenya has given Lake Victoria's next generation of change makers belief that their action can have an impact and ownership of their lake. Carolyn's work in schools will provide the lake with a new generation of empowered citizens with a strong sense of environmental justice. Okay, so that was a wrap up of where the innovators were 4 months ago. The purpose of today's poop tank is to catch up with them and hear where they are now with their innovations, but also to have a broad and open discussion with the innovators, with the mentors, with the panelists, and with you, the wider audience, to get some feedback on the poop tank. What was your experience of the poop tank? What would you like to see in the future? And how can we encourage and nurture a healthy innovation ecosystem for sanitation in East Africa or around Lake Victoria? So let's welcome our innovators, because really this is all about them. Let me welcome Juliet Mukunde of Uganda back to the poop tank.
Yes, I'm doing well. How are you, Anton? How is everyone? You're almost welcome. I'm up and down, but I thank God I'm able to attend. However much I'm at work, I have kind of noise environment, but I'm able to be available for today's meeting.
We can hear you perfectly, Juliet, or at least I can hear you perfectly, and the vision is crystal clear as well. Juliet, you recently had an exciting experience going up and down in the air. You left Uganda and you ended up in Abidjan in the Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire, via, it sounds like a long layover in Ethiopia. Why did you go to the Ivory Coast, Juliet? What were you doing there? And yeah, share a little bit about your experience in what I believe was quite a big conference in Africa.
Wow, thank you so much. Yes, I was in Ivory Coast of recent. I was attending Fecal Sludge Management Alliance conference and the African Water Congress at the same time. It was really a nice experience. I was able to meet different people in sanitation and water. I shared a lot of experience. I attended different stands, visited different stands with different innovations in sanitation. Yes, which was so interesting. And I was able to. I had a discussion with a certain group where I was one of the panelists. And then in that group, yeah, yes, what interested me so much, I was able to meet Mr. Dominic, who is the director of, he's a director of hygiene and sanitation fund, if I'm not mistaken. And we had one-on-one discussion. I was able to ask questions of how mostly women can be helped in this fund, because when they were discussing about this fund, they focused so much on girl child, but these ones were school going. And then I was wondering if these people cannot adjust to favor women who are in sanitation, because we have a lot of challenges as women. I was telling these people how we have challenges. Mostly, if I can take an example from Uganda, most of our women in sanitation, we are not hands-on. We are just technical. I'm not saying we cannot empty, we cannot, but there are some things we cannot do, and we need to know those things. For example, most of the women don't know how to drive these cars. This truck I'm seated in, I am not able to drive. Yeah? You find that they can give this trucker to a drunkard person to drive it, but they don't give an opportunity to a girl child. You get, which is something like discriminating women. It hurts me so much. So I was able to discuss, put our issues as women on the table, women in sanitation. Yeah, and my idea was brought. I was like, you should adjust this program to favor women in sanitation already, because we have challenges. And if people in sanitation are not able to help us, then who will help us? We need to be helped. Yes. So my experience in Cote d'Ivoire was so interesting. I interacted, I moved around, I saw innovations, a lot of things were in place, and I was so amazed to be part.
Thank you, Julia. You're making me cry a little bit. I'm not sure if it's the emotion of St. Patrick's Day or the last poop tank, but your passion and your power is truly inspirational. And I think it's just wonderful that you've had the opportunity to connect with senior professionals in the global sanitation sector and get your message across, because I think this is what's lacking. There is a lack of collaboration from the top to the bottom and back up again and sideways. And it's just great that you're getting these important messages heard at the highest level. So that was wonderful. Thank you, Juliet. Let us now turn to our next innovator who is joining us today. And he is Saul Mwandosia from Tanzania. Hello, Saul. How are you today?
I'm good today.
Saul,
happy to see you all.
Yeah, we're happy to see you too. So wasn't it great to hear about Juliet's experiences there at the international conference in the Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire? Saul, can you tell us about something similar of your experience? Because I think you mentioned recently a conference or a meeting that was on lake-wide inclusive sanitation that was organized, I think, by the Lake Victoria Basin Commission. Is that a meeting
Yes,
that happened yesterday? Do you have any feedback for us on that?
yes, I have some few feedback. Yeah, it was the Lake Victoria Water Commission based under the support of the World Bank, and they wanted to hear from different development partners on the way we can chip in and help to develop the strategy on the way we can be able to reduce the pollution into the Lake Victoria. And they came out with the 3 drivers that contribute to the pollution of water quality of Lake Victoria. One was sanitation, I mean human waste, and the other 2 was solid waste and the industrial waste. But the something that came out as one of the interesting issues was they said there is a recent study that indicated in urban settings, area like Mwanza, poor sanitation contribute to a half of the greenhouse emissions. I didn't know that one. So I want to go deeper and find out how we can be able to support in accessing to improved sanitation, which can make a great contribution to the Lake Victoria. That's a great study I had yesterday from the World Bank and the other partners.
Thank you very much, Saul. We'll be hearing more from you on your story, but I want to say that it's great that you attended that meeting. It's great that we are putting the human waste part of sanitation in the big picture, together with solid waste, industrial effluent, unsustainable land management. It's all part of the package that creates problems related to water quality in Lake Victoria. So it's great that we're looking at everything. We need to be holistic with big challenges like this. And it's also great, and thank you for highlighting the links there between sanitation and climate change and greenhouse gases, because we need to be more vocal and more forceful in how we present that information. And indeed, the evidence is out there, especially for those big cities around Lake Victoria. You mentioned research from Mwanza. There's similar research in Kampala in Uganda, and I suspect there's similar research in Kisumu in Kenya as well. So fantastic that you brought that to our attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
We have a third poop tank innovator, who is Carolyn Odero from Kenya. Carolyn called me this morning to tell me that she has a personal situation. So unfortunately, she will not be joining us. But no poop tank is complete without our 3 poop tank innovators. So that we do not forget Carolyn, her beautiful smiling face and her passion, I will now show a short video from the last poop tank, which is of Carolyn describing the situation in Lake Victoria. Edwin, we have a little bit of background noise. Can you just keep an eye on who is muted and who is not muted, please? In fact, everyone should be muted right now, apart from me. So let me do another screen share and let's hear from Carolyn.
An iluonga ni Carolyn Odero, an jadak ma Kisumu. Onyuola kendo adongo e Kisumu. Nam Lolwe e kuma ne wagole pi. Kendo wuorena gi kwerena ne lupo e Nam Lolwe. Nam Lolwe osekonyowa jo Kisumu. Nimar kata sani en emomiyo kambi Kiwasko pi ma oganda duto te tiyo godo e boma ma Kisumu kae. Emomiyo ka wadhi nyime gi timbe machido nam, to magi e gik ma wadhi neno e higni 50 mabiro. Rech matho e nam, pi ma olil, pige Lolwe mamuomo ka daro ji e kuonde ma ji odakie. Nam ma opong' gi chilo mag plastik, thog mag lee kaka rao monego bed ni kelonwa omenda mowuok e pinje maoko. Tuo mar aoche gi dag pi ma opogore opogore kod kambino mar Kiwasco medo tiyo gi omenda mathoth e thiedho pi ma gimiyo jopiny. Jokanyanam, nam oseritowa e higni gi duto te. Emomiyo kawuono an gi rech kae. Warite mondo mi odhi nyime konyowa. Warite mondo mi oritwa. Erokamano.
And thank you, Carolyn. We all wish you well. And Carolyn there was speaking in her local dialect of Luo. If you go to the video on YouTube and look at Poop Tank number 2, you will see other videos from Juliet in her language of Luganda, and also from Saul in Kiswahili. Inclusive sanitation doesn't just mean everyone has a toilet, but it means we include all the stakeholders in the system to help us find the solutions we need. And that obviously means respecting them, respecting their culture, and respecting their languages, of which there are many around Lake Victoria. Thank you very much, Carolyn. So those are our 3 innovators. Before we go back to them and start the discussion, let's say hello to the other people who've been so instrumental in the Poop Tank. Let's start with the mentors, because getting money is important for innovation, but getting help, technical assistance, mentoring, guidance, that's also important. And we have some mentors here. So let's just pick on the mentors very briefly, and let's ask them, because we're against the time, let's ask them what they'd like to see in the next Poop Tank. So they have an experience from this Poop Tank. As we move forward to the next Poop Tank, we're thinking we need to develop a little bit more the mentoring approach. And I'd love to hear from the mentors what you see your role developing into for the next Poop Tank. So I'm going to start with Gaddafi, who is a mentor from Uganda. Gaddafi, can you quickly, in 1 minute or less, tell us about the role of the mentor and what you would like to see change for the next Poop Tank in terms of mentoring?
Yeah, thank you so much, Anton. I want to take this opportunity to appreciate all the 3 innovators across the region. Of course, my sincere appreciation goes to Juliet, who has made me so proud because my impact is reflected in her impact. So when she performs well, definitely I will be proud. And I really want to appreciate her for being committed in trying to create impact around the source of Lake Victoria. As a mentor, I will continue to provide the necessary support to ensure that we achieve this together, because this is a collective responsibility. It's not one person responsibility, and as a mentor, I will continue to support in that regard. And I look forward to support her in the next program to achieve even higher than this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gaddafi. Great to hear that you've been involved with Juliet's innovation journey. I'm just going down the list I can see in front of me, and the next mentor I can see is Alex Ndama. Alex Ndama, I'm not sure if you're in Tanzania now, Alex, but you are from Tanzania and you have been helping Saul. So can we spotlight Alex Ndama, please? Alex, share with us your experience, and if you could point us towards where we should be going in terms of mentoring for the Poop Tank Challenge.
Hi, Anton and O. It was a good, I was privileged to work with Saul, with another colleague as a co-mentor on the Poop Tank Challenge on the part of Tanzania. The challenge was good. Actually, it's just, this is, as I see, it's just a beginning, and it was a good beginning. And there is a lot around the lake it is going on. A positive and mostly negative, affecting negatively the lake. And we as stakeholders to sanitation and hygiene, or sanitation, actually general stakeholders of the Lake Victoria. And for us who are working on the part of sanitation, we still have a lot to do. And it's not a one-man work. But I think in the next round, whatever that comes and the modality, I don't know how it's gonna look like, but I think we need to have more people as mentors, and the sort of the challenge should a little bit change, that we need to have more people as mentors and whatever we call advisors or whoever to work on the poop challenge. Innovator, one or two, we really need a pool of people that can advise, because the thing is close cutting, and we need more and more people from different angles of sanitation and hygiene and water as well, and other areas, so that is to advise and have a good challenge, meaning good inputs to improve.
Thank you, Alex.
Health of the lake.
Thank you, Alex. That's great. So positive news and a good recommendation. We need more mentors. We need to establish a network of mentors who can really offer appropriate and relevant support to the innovators. Thank you very much. Let's quickly pick up another couple of mentors, and then we'll move on. So Osbert, you were on the mentors roster. I'm not sure exactly how or who you were able to support, because I think you've been kind of traveling and transitioning between jobs or sectors. But I would ask the same question of you in less than a minute, please, Osbert. Tell us about your experience and what should the mentoring approach look like for the next poop tank?
Yes, thank you, Anthony. I hope you can hear me. I have very bad network here. Yes, congratulations to the innovators. I've had a chance to speak to Juliet during the initial days, but not so much on track with other stages. But I congratulate her. Her innovations seem very relevant for the sector. All I can request for in the next challenge is sustainability and building from what we've achieved now, and also getting more people in the audience to listen to some of these innovations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Osbert. Okay, let's move along. We're running a bit low on time, and I want to allow more chance for discussion. So let's now say hi to our panelists again. We have 3 panelists here with us today: Linda Strandy, Kelvin Hughes, and Sasha Kramer. We had a 4th panelist, Sumbi Shimwambwa, who unfortunately isn't here, but we thank all 4 of you for your support over the last few months. And please tell us now what the experience was like for you, and with your really quite extensive knowledge and experience in sanitation and specifically innovation, how might you kind of reframe or develop the challenge next time so we can deliver even more impact? And I am going to go to Linda Strandy first. Hi, Linda.
Great, thank you. I thank you for inviting me to participate. I really enjoyed the experience, and I love the enthusiasm. And one thing I really loved about the poop tank was the increase it brought to public awareness. Because without public awareness, we can't really make changes, right? We can change policy, we can change politicians, we can change behavior. So for me, that was a great outcome. I'm not sure how I would change it in the future, because it's innovation. So I would be nervous to refine it too much or narrow it down too much. So I'll think about that more, but I like keeping it open. So, and I was happy with the outcomes.
Oh, thank you, Linda. I think that's great. Yeah, we need to increase public awareness. So initiatives like this are so important, and because in innovation, you know, let's not frame ourselves. Let's not kind of box ourselves in because innovation is supposed to be open. So perhaps the more open, the better. Sasha Kramer was another one of our panelists, and Sasha has a wealth of experience on sanitation innovation as an implementer in Haiti. So perhaps you can share some of your experiences, Sasha, and yeah, how did it go for you? How was the poop tank?
Oh, well, it's such an honor to be here today and to have had a chance to participate from the beginning, both on the sidelines and as a panelist. And I, like Linda, I've been so impressed by all of the participants and the way that they've been able to share their innovations, and it's been quite inspirational for me. I think one of the things that struck me with both Saul and Juliet and what they were saying is the importance of exposure for innovators. And I think I'm feeling this as well. I'm so glad Juliet was at the FSM conference, and I'm very sad we didn't have a chance to meet up. It was a huge conference, but it does make me think when I go to these conferences often that there's not enough spotlighting of local innovation. And so perhaps finding ways to link future poop tanks to sectoral conferences and looking into scholarship opportunities to get local innovators there, to get their presentations seen and to kind of help build out the network. Because I think certainly for Soil, as a small sanitation service provider working in Haiti, these international forums have been really important, both for our own learning and things we've been able to bring back to our work, but also for getting the word out about innovations that work in specific contexts. So that would be my one suggestion, but overall, I have just really, I've loved being a part of this, and I thank you all for your hard work.
Thank you, Sasha, for being a part of it too, and thank you for those ideas. We need to spotlight innovators at the highest levels, and we need funding for that. Sasha, you mentioned scholarships, but funding of sanitation innovation remains a huge challenge. So perhaps that's one of the biggest questions, is how are we going to fund the Lake Victoria Pooptank moving forward? Let's hear finally from our other panelist, who is Kelvin Hughes, and then we'll turn the microphone over to Opero Services. Hi, Kelvin.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me back. Three things, I guess, from my side. Firstly, I think to Linda, it's just been, and Sasha, it's just been super fun. The energy, the ideas, the different personalities, the different approaches, I think says a lot about the wealth of talent in sanitation and in East Africa around Lake Victoria. And I think that is also something that's come out of this. And I think needs to be shouted about from the rooftops. I don't know if we could, do a blog article, or I'm sure these guys can all write beautifully as well. If you could get something out there for people to read or see. I think the Lake Victoria song as well should be on Spotify. So that'd be my first recommendation. I think that what Sasha was saying about exposure is really true. I don't need to say much more about that. I think Sasha covered it. And I think the last thing is around partnerships. I think, Anthony, you said really eloquently early on about how broad the sector is and the different aspects of that, and how actually we need to link it up, whether it's climate financing or land management, whatever, those things need to be linked up. And I think an interesting way that could be done with the evolution of the poop tank, and presuming it's going to go on for many years, is that the innovators this year are also sort of obliged to be mentors next year as well. I think that getting that in those ideas, the experience involved, and helping people, I think is really important. And also how, as it evolves, can we get partnerships between the different innovators? I could definitely see Saul and Juliet collaborating around something and making it bigger, raising awareness and bringing technical skills and that creativity and the technical knowledge, really matching and mating well. But no, I think it's been amazing, and really, really glad to be along for the ride. So thank you, and thank you to the innovators especially.
Thank you, Kelvin. I'm glad that you used the word fun. That was the idea from the get-go. How can we have a little bit of fun? And that is, I think that is a great idea, to keep including the innovators as we move forward and we build up a kind of a family of innovators and mentors and panelists, there has to be a smart way of reinforcing all of these relationships for the best possible outcome for this innovation ecosystem, whether it's in Lake Victoria or East Africa or wherever. So thank you for that. Right, ladies and gents, we have a little bit under 20 minutes left. I will now hand over the microphone and the proceedings to a most important partner for the Poop Tank. I myself am in the Caribbean, and I launched the Sanitation Innovation Fund because I was aware of the challenges of Lake Victoria, and I'm aware of the importance of sanitation innovation. But there is absolutely no way that this would have happened without a local partner who has been making sure that the Poop Tank is relevant to Lake Victoria, making sure that as many local stakeholders are aware as possible. That local partner is called Opero Services. We're lucky to have two representatives of Opero Services here with us today, Edwin Marita, who has been the technical backbone of the Poop Tank, and also Nicola Green. So Edwin and Nicola, I will now hand over to you to tell us about your experience, to lead a discussion with the limited time we have available, and take it away, please.
Thank you a lot, Anthony. Good to see you all, guys, and working with all of you has been a really quite a nice thing. I will actually just extend that appreciation to the innovators, the panelists, and also the mentors. And yeah, this is just the first of the many we will have. And I think we are building something here very beautiful that you will get to speak about in a couple of years. And now, given that we're actually running quite short of time, I would actually just like to hand over to Nicola just to speak about who we are, and then we can open we can have an open discussion on how we want to make this actually much better and inclusive for everyone going forward. Yeah. So maybe over to you, Nicola. Just 3 minutes.
Cool, thanks, boss. We have good news in that we have a third member of our team on the phone as well. So we have a new WASH business champion, which is like the dream position for Opero. So that's Bob, who you can see on the call as well. So Bob is just joining us and came in to have a look at the Poop Tank as well and get a sense of how we can work with earlier stage innovators. Hi, Bob. So yeah, my name is Nicola. I'm director of Opero. Actually, Opero lives for two things: scaling WASH enterprise and scaling WASH innovation. And we're based here in Kenya, and we very much try to act as catalysts. So we don't innovate or kind of develop and do business ourselves. We work to support other people, and we very much measure our success by the success of the other people that we work with. One of our main initiatives in Kenya at the moment is we have a Kisumu WASH technology hub, but we do work very much with hardware innovations. We have some different toilets there, some different types of waste treatment, a machine for emptying pit latrines. So our role right now is very much showcasing those innovations and trying to bring them to market. But they're very much hardware focused innovations. We work with a lot of tech. So I think one of my favorite things about Poop Tank was that it also gave a chance to software-based innovation and communication. So I think that was really great. I think if we've learned something over time, it's that innovation doesn't scale by accident or without a lot of effort. So I definitely think the ideas of having more money, more partnerships, and shouting a lot more in the next Poop Tank would be great. And I think maybe from a mentorship perspective, maybe assigning a lead coach to each of the enterprises, we often find it quite useful when the businesses we work with have a very key person that they work with who's really their source of support. Though I also agree with the other feedback that we might add some more mentors. yeah, no, that's kind of my feedback. I mean, we've just learned that scaling innovation is a lot of work. So we look forward to digging in harder and having more involvement with the innovators next year. But Edwin had wanted to kind of host a closing discussion, so I'll hand back over to him.
Okay.
Brilliant, Nicola. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Nicola. Well, we have 10 minutes to really talk about how do you work to support these early stage innovators going forward, yeah? And I mean, this is an open discussion. And given that we have actually quite some bit limited time, I would actually just first of all pose this question to Juliet and Saul, who are here as the first cohort. Going forward, what kind of support actually would you want to see from this pop tank? Maybe to you, Juliet.
Yes, I think even when my network was not good, but I think the question was, what kind of a support do we need from Opera? Something of that kind?
Yes.
Yes. My answer is simple. First and foremost, we still need finances to push the project because it's incomplete. In actual sense, we started on it, but it's not where we want it to be. And then, yes, I can say we still need more mentorship. We can share the ideas. There's something we know and there's something we don't know, but for you, you know. So we still need to hear from you guys, the mentors, everywhere. We still need the mentorship as just beginners, innovators, younger innovators who are just beginning. So we still need the mentorship. And yes, we also need to be connected. There's something you cannot provide, but you know someone who can provide it. There are some opportunities that we don't know about, but maybe they're open to, you know about them. You can still notify us and tell us what to do, guide us. And yes, I trust we, as Gaddafi said, it is a collective responsibility. I know we need you and you need us. Push sanitation ahead. Thank you. That's what I had to say.
Yeah, thanks, Juliet. So what I'm hearing from this is that really you would also want some bit of hand-holding going forward. And that means that, you know, after the poop tank one, we don't just drop you, but we also baby hold you so that you're able to at least even create more impact, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Juliet. Maybe over to you, Saul. Do you have maybe any other ideas on top of your mind?
Edwin, do you think we could see Saul as well when he's talking? Otherwise, it's just me looking blankly into the screen.
Actually, yeah, you have to actually turn on your camera for me to spotlight you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Yeah, it was a great opportunity having the Poop Tank team. And I can honestly say I have an opportunity to meet different people, and they are being able to advise on how to go through the poop tank. So what I can cement from Anthony and the Mukunde, I think I can say from my angle, we need two things that can keep the momentum. One is financial support, because we cannot continue without the fund. It's only when I'm being asked on phone or they come through where, then I'm able to provide the support. But going to the field, meeting people, buying some of the devices or printing out some of the material that need, and that's one. And the other issue is we learn from each other. And there are so many water and sanitation experts out there. So there's also a need to get some technical advice on sanitation. issues. So I can say the only two at first, finance and the technical support. And through these two, then it is easier to get connected to other people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So maybe just one question, and you will have maybe less than 30 seconds to respond to it. What next for you now after the poop tank? Any plans? I know you wanted to implement something on governance and policy. What next, and what kind of support would you want within the next 1 year?
Yeah, I wanted to install a GPS tracking system into the emptying trucks, and that get connected to the water utility that's called Mwawasa, so that it's easier to be linked to the government system. So if I could get that kind of support, something can be tangible to the government system. That kind of support I really want. Although I'm able to meet government officials, especially local government authorities and authorities, on creating awareness, on talking about sanitation legislation, that's possible, but buying the equipment, I cannot buy from my end.
Okay, thank you so much for your input. So yeah, so we have 4 more minutes, so I will just want to hear just from one mentor, because from what we've heard from Sol and Juliet is, it's not all about financing, but also this mentorship and support. So, and yeah, I think it's also quite critical for this, especially this early stage innovators. So maybe one person who may want to weigh in on this.
Yes, I think this is a very great idea, and of course, from my side, I will think that it will make sense if some support is mobilized for them, just to keep them going. However, my advice would be these innovators will really be ready to push with or without the resources, because we are aware that the resources are really scarce and limited. But I think the aspect of sustainability is very key. So that will mean that they should need to work extra harder to really push without even resources. Other things will get them on the way as they struggle their journey. That's my also. Thank you.
Great to me. So thank you, Opera Services. And the future of the Lake Victoria Pooptank, or the East Africa Pooptank, or however it's called in the future, and what happens next, that's really in the hands of Opera Services, with as much support as the Sanitation Innovation Fund can offer. But the Sanitation Innovation Fund is also looking at the global innovation ecosystem, and that means that we're also expanding to work with other partners in other countries. And 2 of those other partners in other countries are with us today. I am talking about Chaiwe from Zambia, and I am talking about Grace from, well, Grace is from the US, but she has a lot of experience in Brazil. So I would love to invite Chaiwe and Grace now just to say in, I'm very sorry, ladies, but I'm going to only give you 90 seconds each. If you can just say how you think the poop tank, or something like the poop tank and innovation challenge, is going to be relevant to the context you're working in and the challenges that you're trying to address. Yeah, I think that's it. Over to you. So let's hear from Chaiwe in Zambia first, and then Grace. Over to you, Chaiwe.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Anthony. And I just wanted to first start by saying thank you for this amazing pilot in Kenya and the East African region, rather. It really has been telling and has allowed us to really see the possibilities in other regions. East Africa in Africa is always taking the precedence in a lot of things. So we tend to feel down here in Southern Africa that we need to keep up and push a little bit harder. So it's exciting times that we see a possibility of this poop tank coming to Zambia. And we'll start with Zambia, particularly because we are really right in the middle of the region. And we have probably one of the biggest challenges when it comes to groundwater pollution, particularly in Lusaka. So our poop tank is a little bit different because it is literally groundwater poop going straight, sanitation facilities going straight into groundwater in terms of pollution. So with that said, that is basically where we want to start. And during the course of last year, we had a lot of engagements with Opero, as well as Anthony, just to see how we can conceptualize and learn the best practices from this poop tank experience with the Lake Victoria. Yeah, so stay tuned, and we'll need all hands on deck to support us in the process. So we'll reach out to some of these amazing people that have worked in Zambia before, but also others that have not and would like to give it a go. Yeah, I think in that 90 seconds, I'll end there. But let me say lastly that I'm representing CADEV Capacity Development here in Zambia, who potentially will be the leading agency in putting this together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chaiwe from CADEV Capacity Development. We are very excited about working with you to bring the poop tank. Perhaps it won't be called a poop tank, perhaps it'll be called something else, but bringing Sanitation Innovation Challenge to Zambia and supporting what you're doing there. Thank you very much, Chaiwe. And now we go to Grace Pila of the Appropriate Sanitation Institute. And Grace has been working a lot on a sanitation technology called condominial sewerage, which has really taken off in Brazil, but certainly it is applicable to a lot of the world. Hi, Grace.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me on, Anthony. Yeah, so I run the Appropriate Sanitation Institute, and our goal is to share knowledge about condominial sewage, because there are a couple of places, well, several places in Brazil that it's working very well, especially two large cities, the city of Salvador and the capital Brasilia, who use the system citywide and serve more than 2 million people. The city of Salvador is a city that's made up of 70 to 80% slums, and they're still managing to serve 82% of the population. So it's quite a success. They've cleaned up the beaches. They're swimmable most of the time when it rains, snow, but most of the time their beaches are swimmable now, and they have a booming tourism industry. So the idea is to take this success and bring it elsewhere. This technology has not even moved to the bigger cities in Brazil. They don't use it in Rio and Sao Paulo, and nobody learns about this in engineering school in Brazil or elsewhere. So our goal is to kind of get this into universities, bring it to conferences, bring it to people who know about it. It's a participatory system. So basically the idea is you form condominiums or blocks of houses, and then that block is a bargaining unit, and they decide together how the sanitation is going to run. Sometimes they have to run it through yards or through their houses to get it out of the neighborhood. So our poop tank, our primary goal is actually to raise awareness. So we are doing, it's called the Condominial Innovation Prize, and we'll be targeting engineering students and professionals in the sector to make some changes within the system. So there are some problems with, although it's working well, there's still some problems. They instead of manholes, they use these small cleanout boxes, and the lids of the cleanout boxes are very easily breakable, and those could be redesigned. Also, it might be nice to have better technology to communicate with the communities, so an app or something that someone could write. So we're trying to sneak it into the universities and sneak it into the where the people are already working on this, and within that make some improvements in the system.
Thank you. That was a lightning fast introduction to condominial sewerage. Thank you. And yeah, can I just say, having Grace and Chaiwe kind of join us along has been really, really motivating for me. I think it just proves that sanitation innovation is required in most parts of the world, even places that have supposedly good sanitation. We need to keep innovating. We need to keep thinking about how sanitation and public health systems can be relevant and functional in this fast changing world that we live in. So thank you to the both of you. And now I'll hand over again to Edwin.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, so I'm saying thank you, Chaiwe and Grace. We are really looking forward to actually taking part in this poop tank, not just as potential mentors, but also as just attendees. Yeah. Yeah. So what next for the Lake Victoria Pooptank? Yeah. Yeah. So as Opero Services, we really enjoy working with innovators. So this is among the many poop tanks we intend to roll going forward. And I mean, this is just the beginning. So in a couple of years, you know, the university students from Brazil, Chaiwe from Zambia, will have created this pool of sanitation engineers where we not only share the great ideas and the mentorship, but we also, you know, work as one. Yeah. So definitely we are planning to roll another poop tank this year. So I would actually want to tell you that stay tuned. We want to work more with these early stage innovators. And for Juliet and Sol, yes, we will do the hand holding. I mean, we have a really good audience here. So there's this also pool of sanitation professionals you actually also want to sort of bring together so that we really tackle this problem so that everyone has, you know, access to safe water and sanitation. Yeah. So those will be my parting words. And thank you all, and see you next time. See you soon.
Yes, thank you, Edwin. And thanks to everyone, the innovators, the panelists, the mentors, Opero Services, Chaiwe and Grace, who are going to be leading us on in other parts of the world. Someone mentioned, are there blogs? There are blogs. Our innovators have written blogs. I have written blogs. They are on the Pooptank website. Please check them out. Learn more about the innovators. Check out the other poop tanks if you didn't see them. It's all there on www.pooptank.net. Be well, be kind, be radical. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Bye-bye, everyone.